Michigan loses 51-45 to TCU in one of the most disappointing games that I can remember in the history of the program. It's up there for me, at least, with Appalachian State in 2007 and probably a few others, 2016 against Ohio State, et cetera, et cetera. They were so much more talented than TCU. The TCU coaching staff came in and ran rucksaw on Michigan. Michigan had awful playing calling on offense in the first half, terrible execution on defense in the second half, and as such, they got the ball back with 1 minute left and could not get it done. The Wolverines lose to TCU and will not make it to the national championship game. Final score 51-45. Coming in from Eastside Zach, some questions from our live shows. We're going to put this up on Sunday morning. He says, we need a real OC and a real QB coach. It's been a concern with this program in Jim Harbaugh's entire tenure, right? Jed Fish was the offensive coordinator, co-OC, and the QB coach in 2015. But since then, I think you could say that Michigan has really undercoached in the passing game, undercoached at the quarterback position. And J.J. McCarthy is the best offensive, or is the best pro-ready prospect that this program has had at quarterback since Chad Haney in 2004 through 7. I think J.J.'s higher than him. They're both 5 stars. But how about this? Maybe even back to Drew Henson, who would have been the first-round draft pick, decided to go play baseball back 98, 99, and 2000. So Eastside Zach, I agree with you, but I don't think anything's going to happen. I like Michigan's identity in offense, but they do need to be able to throw the ball. They do need to be able to throw pro-ready routes and concepts that, as of right now, are fairly amateur for this team. Cody Mumper also super chatting here. He says, terrible execution, but that TD should have been overturned, but it screwed us. Mullen should never fumble the ball. So let's just kind of identify those couple things. JJ did well for the turnovers. I'll give him that. JJ had 2 pick sixes. It didn't seem to hurt his mentality. He came out playing, running the ball, passing the ball. He could have played better. Ends up with 2 touchdowns passing, 1 rush. 2 touchdowns passing, right, Jack? Yeah. 2 passing, 2 turnovers, though. 2 pick sixes might have been the difference in the game. Also had a rushing touchdown. Also had a 2-point conversion. He put Michigan in the position to win down the stretch. The Wolverines scored 39 points in the second half. But it just wasn't enough. But as far as terrible execution on offense in the first half, absolutely terrible in the red zone, inside the 5-yard line. And it continued, right? Michigan's first 4 times in the red zone, they had the ball inside the 5-yard line 4 times. 1 touchdown, okay, in the second half, of course. 1 field goal, 1 turnover, fumble by Kalel Mullings. And, of course, that 4th down play, the triple, quadruple, reverse, Philly special, pass to JJ, whatever it was terrible. And Michigan lost momentum, and they never recovered from there. Matthew Peterson, Chat Sports Zone, says this should kill the Harbaugh to NFL, though Wrights probably should be. Harbaugh should have a lot of unfinished business here with the Michigan football program. If he were to leave now, man, I think that's I think it's a shot to his character if he were to leave after this loss, because he was a big part of why Michigan just did not come prepared. The game plan that he brought to this game, unacceptable, and Michigan loses. I think that's actually the biggest upset in college football playoff history. This is the biggest upset. A number 2 Michigan, who's soundly favored over TCU, a TCU team that was unranked going into the season, is now playing the national title game. Michigan is not. They're going home. One-word reaction to Michigan's 51-45 loss to TCU. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Mine is just sad. I am so sad for myself, selfishly. I'm sad for you, Jack. Young Harbaugh. We're going to dress him. We're going to figure out Harbaugh's game day uniform. We're going to go into the national title game at SoFi. Jack was going to be wearing head-to-toe, play calling thing, headset, marker, whistle. But as of that, we're going to go see TCU play Georgia or Ohio State. As you watch the Sunday morning, we filmed this late on Saturday while the Georgia-Ohio State game was still going on. I'm sad for the Michigan football fans all over the country. Sad my dad went out to the game to TCU, sitting second row. I saw him when he was on TV when the Boys to Men. He was sitting second row in the end zone to the left side of Boys to Men. Sad that he made that trip. Sad that Olu team, he doesn't get to play a national title game. I'm sad for Jim Harbaugh that once again he comes up short. Well, selfishly, I'm sad for myself. I really am sad for myself. I pumped myself up so much that this would be a national title run, and we put a lot of effort into what's going to happen in LA next week. Nevertheless, it will not be Michigan in that game. Killer Panda says we need to schedule harder out-of-conference games. I don't think I agree with that. I don't think it really made much of a difference. Now, you can make the argument that Michigan didn't face a variety enough of offense and defense, and so they weren't prepared, but that's what the last 4 weeks before. That's really what they were. Now, Jim Harbaugh in the NFL, he as a head coach beat Aaron Rodgers twice in the playoffs. twice in the playoffs. One of the top 5 quarterbacks of all time, beat him twice. He beat Drew Brees, top 10 quarterback of all time, beat him once the only time. He beat Cam Newton, an MVP of the NFL. He beat all these guys in the NFL playoffs. So I don't think that the non-conference schedule, underprepared Jim Harbaugh as a coach to prepare this team. I think that he was overlooking TCU. I really do think that. I don't think TCU played their A+ game. I think TCU played a B game, right? Their quarterback threw less than 50%. But they got the ball running. They got the job done running the ball. They did a better job running the ball than Michigan. They played tougher than Michigan. They made the big plays against Michigan. They played against Michigan like Michigan played against Ohio State, and they got the job done. Cody Mumford again, he says, I wasn't done. How can you be run first all season in the playoffs? You throw the ball to a Big 12 defense. You played right into their hands. It's so true. If you guys watched my halftime show I put on Twitter, I said Michigan needs to stick to their identity in the second half. Even against Penn State, even against Ohio State, they went into those games, either down against Ohio State 3 points, or I think they were up against Penn State by 3. They scored late, whatever it was. But they dominated those games in the second half by sticking to what they were, which is run the ball, stick it to them. That was not what we saw against TCU. It just wasn't. And where was the second half defense? Michigan was giving up 6 points, less than 6 points per game in the second half this entire season. 13 games coming in today, 6 points per game. And looking at the box score here, I'm just going to kind of pull it up here and just shake my head here. Michigan gave up 30 points, right? 5.5 times their season average, 5 times their season average in the second half. 30 points to TCU. So it was a track meet in the second half. And Michigan being down 18 points, couldn't let it be just a track meet. They had to have stops, and they just didn't get them when they needed them. 2 times in the second half, 2 times middle of third quarter on. Michigan was right there, about to get the momentum back. All they needed one more stop, and they had the game. They gave up long touchdowns and just didn't get the job done. Subscribe if you guys want more Michigan football content. I'm not going to turn my back on this program. I'm still going to put out content. We'll be putting out content, maybe not daily at this point, right? Michigan losing today. I'm going to at least do 5 days a week going up until signing day in February for recruiting. And then after that, we'll stick to about 3 a week from February until August, until you get back to training camp, which should be the #1 team in the country heading into the 2023 college football season. Make sure you guys subscribe. Send a link to a friend, youtube.com/MichiganTV. It'll help us out if you guys want more off-season content. More subscribers puts us with more production ability, more studio time, youtube.com/MichiganTV. Educated Black Man. He says, do you think Michigan needs to upgrade the wide receiver positions? Absolutely. But I don't think the wide receivers were the problem today. There were a couple plays that you could have said that, Michigan could have come up with something. But I think the tight ends kind of stunk. Colson Loveland kind of stunk tonight. But Ronnie Bell, right after halftime, he made an amazing catch, right? Stretched out, caught the ball, got Michigan. Only got a field goal, right, because they can't do anything inside the 10-yard line. That was right after halftime. Roman Wilson made a couple of big-time plays today. Ronnie Bell and Roman Wilson on the end around. One for a touchdown for Roman Wilson, one for a 2-point conversion for Ronnie Bell. So the wide receivers were not the problem today. The problem was the offensive line and the running game stunk. The offensive play calling in the 10-yard line stunk plus, right, like A+, stunk plus. And then the defense just was absolutely awful in the second half. The defensive play calls, the blitzing, the timing of the blitz, the man coverage, everything you did good against Ohio State, you did bad against TCU, and TCU's offense absolutely punked Michigan's defense in the second half. Coming in from Eli Jackson, how does Harbaugh prepare better for the bowl game in the future? Guys, if you want to get on the show here, hashtag Michigan or Super Chat. 6 straight postseason losses for Jim Harbaugh. 6 straight. And I was living in San Francisco during a little bit of the Harbaugh run there at the 49ers, and he lost 2 of his 3 NFC championship games in very similar fashion. They were the better team against the New York Giants in 2011. Right? What happened? They fumbled the ball on a punt return in the fourth quarter, and the Giants got the ball and scored. They were the better team against the Seahawks. They just could not get it done. Threw the ball to the end zone. Ill-timed pass against the best cornerback in the game. He intercepted it. Right? Colin Kaepernick intercepted by what's his name? The loudmouth Seahawks. Richard Sherman. Right? Very similar. Jim Harbaugh, I do think, has had a mental block for a lot of his coaching career. We just can't get over the hump. It takes him so many times to get over the hump. We saw it at Michigan. Couldn't beat a ranked team. Couldn't beat Ohio State. Couldn't win a big game on the road. Finally, over the last couple of seasons, he's killed all those narratives, right? He won his ranked game in 2018 on the road. He won a few big games at Nebraska and Wisconsin, etc. Then he started beating ranked teams consistently. Then he started beating Ohio State. Beat him last year. Beat him this year. But what does it matter? Michigan's in the same position they were a year ago, although they're 13-1 instead of 12-2. They lose a semifinal on New Year's Eve. Bill Graves, the last question, Jack, for the cut here, probably? Or no, we still have more. Will affect how long we have. What effect will this have on recruiting? Probably not anything. Probably not much. As Ashley is calling, my wife, she knows I'm live on air, yet she calls. I don't know why you'd be calling me now since I'm live on air, but nevertheless, Bill Graves, what effect will this have on recruiting? Not too sure, Bill. Not really much, I don't think, in the near term because Michigan really is going for Nicholas Harbor and not much else for the February recruiting class. But 2024, it probably means Michigan won't have a top 5 class because the momentum of a national championship game, the momentum of potentially a national championship team is so much better than losing to TCU. So I bet they lose out in 2-3 guys that have been like, oh man, Michigan is the best. Maybe guys from Texas, right? Maybe guys from California that would have gone in person, kids, 17-year-old juniors in high school from LA that would have went out to the national title game and watched Michigan. But now let's see TCU playing in that game. Let me know if you guys can give me a go blue in the comments. Where are we at timing-wise, Jack? We good? Cool. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. We'll take another question or two here. Can I get a go blue in the comments? As I said, I'm not turning my back on this team. I'm not, changing fan bases by any means, but this is a very disappointing loss. I'm sure it's more it's no more disappointing it's more disappointing to Jim Harbaugh, the coaching staff, and the players than it is to us. I'm sure that's the case. Man, it's tough to be disappointed when you can't control the outcome, and that's the case for this team, for the fan base. And that's that. So Bohannon94 coming in, he says, we really miss Blake tonight. Go blue. I think Blake Corum comes back. I've been saying for weeks now it's 60% that Blake Corum comes back. Week and a half or so I've been saying that. It was 50-50, now more. He's not going to be able to get to participate fully in the NFL Combine. He's not going to be able to fully participate in Pro Day and work out for teams. So his draft stock has fallen off a cliff because he had such a late season knee injury. I think he does come back. And I think guys like Zach Zinter should consider it. Do what's best for yourself, Zach. But if you're right there, maybe consider coming back and having some unfinished business, which I know some people are sick of. But that's Mike Morris. Mike Morris, come back. Ryan Hayes, maybe. Others, Carson Barnhart, et cetera, Michigan offensive linemen, they can come back. But I really think Michigan missed Blake Corum in the first quarter. 2 possessions inside the 2-yard line. They could have gave it to Blake Corum. He always gets in the end zone. Hassan Haskins last year. Blake Corum. Clearly, Michigan didn't think Donovan Edwards was that guy this year. And as such, they lose the game 51-45 to TCU. It's the Michigan Football Report by Chat Sports.